YouTube, what it do? It's your boy Benji, and we back. It's your boy Ben on TV show, man. This is WWE in between the rows. We're checking out WrestleMania's biggest problem, particularly WrestleMania 41. If you're new, please don't forget to subscribe. We'd like to do some chats. We chopping it up, everything TV, movie, entertainment related. And if you do not know, WrestleMania 40 got me back into wrestling, and I have been locked in. So we're gonna check it out. A lot of people are upset about the build of WrestleMania 41, and I'm gonna have to voice my opinions, but I'm gonna let this video drop what they got to say. The original link is down in the comments below. I'm sorry for yapping. My fault. Let's go.
We as a pro wrestling business is booming. And if you need reminding of this, don't worry. WWE, specifically Triple H, will remind you directly every week on Raw and SmackDown. The WWE boom period started around 2022, with WWE's Bloodline storyline receiving rave reviews,
My tribal
combined
chief.
with Vince McMahon being forced out of the WWE. It was in essence the right place at the right time for the WWE product to be revered again by fans, as Triple H was very much seen as the golden boy thanks to his booking of NXT and for the most part, his early work on the main roster as head of creative was incredible. The game put focus on lengthy storytelling, and there was definitely a sense that the shows were being produced with love and passion. This was also felt by the talent, as talent across the board spoke out regarding how great the atmosphere was in WWE now that Vince McMahon had disappeared. This creative spark led to a massive surge of success for the company. Shows began to sell out left, right, and center, celebrities wanted to get involved in the pro wrestling industry, and for the first time since the Attitude Era, pro wrestling was cool again. Unfortunately, for the first 3 months of 2025, something has happened. Whilst the shows remain sold out across the world, and whilst ratings and social media metrics remain healthy, the fan reception to the product has drastically altered. There's a strong portion of the audience who find themselves disgruntled with the product. But how has this happened? How has Triple H gone from having the fans on his side to the fans turning against him just weeks away from the WWE's biggest show of the calendar year?
I've got to say, it's got a lot to do with the internet. You got a lot of people that are upset and they can voice their opinions, people like me. But, I mean, honestly, a lot of people on Twitter are the biggest people, or the biggest culprits, I would say, when it comes to just voicing their issues with wrestling. And that is something that I always find interesting, because people will become upset, or they will become enamored with certain characters, or they take sides, or they talk trash. It's interesting because there's really a fanfare around certain wrestlers and the acts and deeds that they do, and why some people believe that some people should be pushed more than others, etc.
A lot of the creative turmoil that is going on in WWE centers around WrestleMania 41, and it all
Yeah.
started at the 2025 Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Jey Uso and Charlotte Flair weren't exactly popular winners of the respective Rumbles, and the YouTube dislikes spoke for themselves.
Yeah.
When it came to Jey, whilst it was great that Triple H was rewarding a wrestler for getting over with the audience, the demand to see Jey as world champion and the demand to see Jey versus Gunther yet again just wasn't at the level he envisioned. It's like the Rumble sent everything off track, and since the backlash to the Rumble, Triple H has been scrambling from a creative aspect.
Because it seems like they didn't think about this in terms of storylines. It didn't make any sense. I'm okay with, even when in years past and years prior there have been events that haven't necessarily correlated one to one. But if your entire beckoning and your entire reason to try and usher the fact that this wrestling that we have today is so much better than the previous regime, simply because we take so much more care and put more and more emphasis on storylines and making sure that everything links and things flow seamlessly and it all makes sense, like we're watching a long TV show, which we are. If that's your deal, then why have you done a terrible job since WrestleMania 40 in trying to connect some of these storylines, characters, plot holes, and set up the proper matches? It's as if they built everything up last year in order to have the WrestleMania 40 match, and it was a uber success, which is, if you watch most of their coverage about it, even the behind the scenes documentary about WrestleMania 40, a lot of the stuff seemed to have been unplanned. They do a lot of stuff on the fly, which is something that they do on the regular when people go down with injury or etc. I don't get how WrestleMania 41, nothing from WrestleMania 40 properly linked us to WrestleMania 41. It's as if you guys just started freeballing. And then, now that WrestleMania 41 is almost upon us, we the fans have no indication of what's going on in WrestleMania, and it doesn't seem like y'all do either.
When it comes to Raw, to Triple H's credit, the shows have been mostly solid. The 2.5-hour runtime definitely helps, and having Cody Rhodes, who is cemented as a face of WWE, appearing on the show really helps.
I think the problem too is that, unfortunately, as much as y'all can admit that y'all feel like, oh, it's all about the wrestling and push this wrestler because he's a good wrestler. End of the day, WWE fans are people that are really interested in the stories. I think other wrestling promotions and even some of the independent circuits, bro, people really love the wrestling. And don't get it twisted. A good match has a story in itself. But the stories and the excitement for, WWE to have these huge arenas filled out for PLEs doesn't quite make enough sense.
A lot of the key segments, such as John Cena's explanation for turning heel, have taken place on the show, and this has made the show feel like a major deal. SmackDown, on the other hand, has been a total and utter train wreck of a TV show. When the show was officially announced to go to 3 hours, fans had concerns. There was no need for the show to go to 3 hours, but if WWE or the USA Network insisted, then the show was going to need to utilize more underutilized talents such as Andrade and Carmelo Hayes.
We got Game 7 series, which culminated in the 7th match being interrupted by LA Knight, which actually led to them having a very good triple threat match, and then that was it. That was all we heard from either of them. Like, literally, Andrade has probably wrestled, 2 or 3 matches here and there on TV, and just got buried by, Jacob Fatu and a couple other guys here and there. Shinsuke. So it's like, he's non-existent after this. He showed us that he can wrestle his tail off, and we knew that. But this dude came out of WWE and has done nothing. Melo, NXT champ, first round draft pick, has done nothing but get beat. And I'll accept the fact that he has to learn how to bump with the big boys. I'll accept that he's got to learn how to overcome the fact that you're not the top guy anymore and you got to climb your way up. I'll take that. But again, we haven't seen anything of them. We haven't gotten any moments of significance. And so they did all this work for what? Nothing.
Unfortunately, that hasn't happened. The 3-hour editions of the Blue Brand have been exhausting to sit through, and
they haven't really done anything to push wrestlers that don't get TV time. I just made a video talking about how Katana Chance and Kaden Carter just got on last episode of SmackDown. We haven't seen them since December. Even the announcers pointed that out. The last time we saw them was for the lead up to the Intercontinental Championship matches or the U.S. Championship match. Why do we have talent like this that, if we've extended the show, are just now getting a return?
WWE have allowed a subpar product to be hidden by rabid European crowds, and fans can see right through what WWE are trying to do. It was announced in early 2025 that Road Dogg was now the lead writer for SmackDown. Road Dogg's track record for writing for SmackDown, well, isn't exactly great, as he was a man who oversaw Jinder Mahal's infamous WWE title reign. During this time, the show was seeing half-empty arenas, and Road Dogg spent most of his free time arguing with fans on social media regarding the quality of the product. Some fans on X have theorized that Triple H isn't involved in SmackDown in any capacity, and that's why the show has been so awfully bad. And whilst this hasn't been confirmed, it's evident that Triple H isn't a fan of the 3-hour product, and one of the first things he discussed when the announcement was made was how the show will eventually revert back to a 2-hour format. There's an argument to be made that the game is creatively burnt out, and it's easy to see when looking at the current state of the product. WWE are actively hiring new writers and producers, and this may be Triple H and TKO's way of shaking things up before there's no turning back. We're just a matter of weeks away from Wrestlemania 41, the biggest show of the year, and fan excitement couldn't be any lower. Fans have expressed disappointment with both the match card and the build, and there's a sense that WWE are going through the motions when it comes to what is supposed to be their signature.
It seems like the plan is just throw a bunch of popular wrestlers out there and we'll figure it out.
Show. The main event of night 2 is said to be Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for the WWE title. Without a doubt, WWE are hoping that the shocking Cena heel turn is enough to sell WrestleMania this year. Both Rhodes,
which in some sense it was, but every show that he's been on since the turn has been disappointing because we haven't really got to explore it yet. But if I know John Cena and how meticulous he is in regards to his acting, as well as how meticulous he is as John Cena the wrestler, there's no way I would think that he would spill all the beans so early. I think this is going to be a long journey for him, and it's going to be a little internal work. So I'll admit that. I'll accept the fact that he's just not going to tell us exactly what's going on. We're not going to know exactly the world that we're stepping into with this The Rock being the final boss and asking people for their soul. I think they tried to clean it up, and honestly, it wasn't until Elimination Chamber that I actually kind of understood what they were talking about, because I think the world was utterly confused when The Rock came out and was asking Cody Rhodes for his soul in the initial episode of SmackDown, but whatever.
and Cena have done a great job in selling the match. Arguably, the match wouldn't have been big enough as a traditional babyface versus babyface matchup, yet the heel turn certainly takes the match to a whole new level. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for other key matches on the show. The world title feud between Gunther and Jey Uso has been uninspiring and lifeless.
Because bro, these people took Jey Uso, who literally, the PLE before the Royal Rumble, had a match with Gunther. Saturday Night Main Event, literally just had it, lost. And then they continue for us to be hype about him fighting Gunther again. We just saw you lose. And it wasn't even like he lost in some fashion that would draw inspiration, or that he could draw inspiration from. It was literally just a regular match they fought that he lost. It'd be something as if he lost and cheated and said, Gunther, you had to cheat to beat me. You can't beat me straight up. At least something. He has doubt just because he can't beat him. You're just not as good as me. So if you win, how would that solve anything? Wouldn't that just mean that, hey, Jey Uso, if you beat me this one time, you just beat me once. Bro, this is the NBA playoffs. It doesn't even matter. You've already been swept. Doesn't matter if you beat me one time.
WWE attempted to build a match by having Jey squash Theory on Raw, and this led
That was terrible. Oh my gosh.
into a surge of backlash, with fans stating that burying Theory isn't going to convince them that Jey should win the world title. Whilst Jey definitely has his supporters, the idea of Jey as world champion is a bleak reality for many fans, and all signs indicates WWE crowning Jey next month. The WWE Women...
I think the burying Fury to him was even crazier because it was almost an absolute tell that he was going to win. Because, again, we all know Austin Theory is a good wrestler. How was this dude just previously... How is this dude a United States champion, a former United States champion, former Money in the Bank champion, and tag team champion, and he just gets destroyed by Jey Uso in 10 seconds. And that's supposed to make us believe that Jey Uso, the guy who's supposed to be facing doubt about whether or not he can beat the champion, can win. Him going 10 seconds with Austin Theory was not the right move. It would have made more sense if they had a 10-minute match. And it was like, yo, Jey Uso, you struggling to beat Theory. Why? To him, squashing Theory was just the worst decision.
Women's title will also be defended in a match between Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair, and the build to their match has been alarming. WWE have completely buried Stratton in the build, and their verbal face-off on SmackDown from Italy completely exposed Stratton.
I don't understand why they switched her over to being a babyface as well. I understand that her going against Nia would, in some sense, elicit that she would be a babyface, but we grew to know and love Tiffany Stratton, the center of the universe. Her trying to come out and humbly accept the fact that she worked so hard for a championship that, like Charlotte said, you didn't work hard for it. You were the Money Bank champion. You were best friends with the champion. And when the champion had her back turned, you cashed in on her. I don't understand why they had her flip characters after that. That makes zero sense. Sure. Is Charlotte heel embracing the hate? Absolutely. But we can have a heel that, in the end of the day, is still a heel. But they don't have to be the big, sinister, evil one. Like we've seen Chelsea Green and what she's done with the United States Championship. She's humorous, but she's a heel. She'll cheat, and she's not going to try to out-wrestle you. She's going to try to find a way to win.
Is a scripted medium, and there was no reason for WWE to make Stratton look as bad as they did. The only way they can rectify this is by having Stratton defeat Flair clean on the grandest stage. But with this being a Charlotte Flair matchup, a Flair win and another women's title reign wouldn't be exactly out of the question.
And then if they had Tiffany Stratton just beat Charlotte Flair, that'd be trash. We still, to this day, do not understand even why Charlotte chose Tiffany. Like, I understand that she got graced over or glossed over it. Yeah, it's because you're a cheap gimmick of me and I'll put you down and show you how you really do it. Yeah, okay. But, again, Tiffany Stratton did mention and brought a good point up. Yo, if you beat me, you just beat exactly what you're saying I am. A cheap imitation of you.
Biggest non-title match on the card is the triple threat between CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. And ultimately, this has been the most frustrating build so far. For weeks, WWE have had Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins come to the ring during an international broadcast and declare that the other top names in the feud aren't on the show, and they will be at a different show. This is negative booking and makes zero sense. Why are WWE rubbing it in fans' face that they haven't spent a fortune on tickets and the biggest stars aren't even there? The three men would eventually face off on SmackDown from Italy, and fans were highly critical of the verbal interactions. The three men have had deep and interconnected lore and continuity, yet WWE decided to ignore all of this and explain that Reigns' issues with Punk was the fact that he eliminated him from the annual Royal Rumble. Is that the best the WWE can do? This is surface-level storytelling, and not strong enough for a match that is a strong contender to headline Night 1 of WrestleMania. But in relation to the main event of Night 1, a health...
And that was a great point. These guys have the easiest story to write. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, I'm your pappy. I'm the reason behind y'all's presence in the WWE. I'm the reason that y'all even got near to the position that you are today. You going against me is crazy. I've been there, done that. I've taken you to another level so that you can take this business to another level. But let's not forget, like CM Punk said, who put you into this world and who can take you out. Very, very, very simple. Roman Reigns, you're upset at CM Punk because what? You didn't even like CM Punk going into War Games. You never did. Why would you? You battled with him while you were in the Shield. Even though your duty to restore honor to the WWE was essentially protection for CM Punk. So why for all these years you are leery and weary of him joining your team in War Games, and now just because he threw you over the top rope, oh yeah, I hate this dude. It is the Royal Rumble. I just don't understand how, like he said, 10, 20, like perfect, easy layup story that you could have went so many different ways with is deduced to solely throwing him over the top rope. And then Seth Rollins, I just don't like you guys. So that's it. At least Seth makes sense with his disagreements with CM Punk. He has surely a little bit of a deeper story that he could tell. But at the end of the day, Roman's sentiment should be the same. Yeah, I don't like you. CM Punk, you're crazy. And Seth Rollins, the story is there, easy. I don't trust you. Because what you did for me. We were brothers. You destroyed that union. That's easy.
A number of fans are pushing for Io Sky versus Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley to receive the nod. The match has all the components for a classic WrestleMania match, and there's an actual logical, compelling storyline heading into the triple threat. Outside of the discussed matches, there...
Why is Rhea Ripley in a possible triple threat with these two women? What did she do to deserve that? I mean, all right, they're going to do the matchup on Raw with Bianca as a special referee. Why was she given the privilege of being special referee? Don't think we're ever going to figure that out. Don't know why. Like, that was dumb. That was so lazy. In the event that the woman who was complaining about getting a championship opportunity for a match that she allowed Io to have and lost, then gets a rematch you gave her the match. You didn't have to give her the match. But you gave her the match and now you just suddenly get a rematch clause that you can invoke. Sure. But you came in and interrupted our signing ceremony. Bro, you can get a rematch after WrestleMania. Why you get a rematch when Io worked hard in order to get herself an opportunity at the championship? She won it. She was screwed out of her initial opportunity to win by Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan's beef. Bianca Belair went to Elimination Chamber, worked hard for an opportunity to win the championship. Why does Rhea Ripley get to squeeze herself back into it? Doesn't make sense. Also doesn't make sense because of the multiple different renditions of Rhea Ripley that we've seen that have been put out by the WWE. When Rhea Ripley's backstage talking about how she doesn't have any friends anymore and she doesn't know who she should trust and she's got to work on herself. To coming back and just doing the exact same thing. The championship I never lost. It's lazy.
There are numerous wrestlers.
It'll be a good match. But like the stories are not compelling people to show up because at least last year we were like, okay, no one knew what was going to happen. In terms of some of these endings, I think everyone thought that this could have gone a couple ways. Don't think there's enough draw behind what they have, but they do have some time.
Such as LA Knight, Sami Zayn, and champions from both brands without clear direction. Based on rumors, WWE could be replicating WrestleMania 2000 with the amount of multi-person matches set for the show. Now, while some would claim that the dislike for the current product is overblown, the product is a far cry from the 2023-2024 run that Triple H was on. they seem to be making plans.
There's still a lot of good wrestlers. There's still a lot of new faces. I think the issue is really just, like you said, I mean, the biggest thing that the WWE has talked about is whether they're going to take their fans for granted. They spent a lot of time building up these wrestlers and these stories in order to then just throw it out the window and act like it never happened. Drew McIntyre was a bloodline bounty hunter when he joined SmackDown and was teaming up with Kevin Owens. And now, poof, that's out of here. And why would Drew McIntyre even be acting as if he's any sense of friendly around the anyone that's a part of the bloodline? Why does he want to fight Drew McIntyre anyway? I mean, Damian Priest anyways. Like, I understand that Damian Priest seems to have been screwing him out of opportunities. Brother, your whole reason that you even had the pit stop of CM Punk was to take him out for good because CM Punk's goal was to win a championship, and then he continued to screw you out of the opportunity to get a championship. What does Damian Priest have to do with you getting a championship?
As they go along, and a lot of the booking is frustrating and sometimes downright bizarre. The Rock's booking over the past 12 months has led to a lot of questions from fans.
But the Priest build, I ain't gonna lie, like, that's, I'm not too upset about that. Like, I'm not, the biggest matches are the ones that make the least amount of sense.
And The Rock returned at Bad Blood in the main event, counted at 3.
Why did he return?
Soldier Sikoa would state that this was part of the plan, then it was never mentioned again. Is The Rock showing up, doing whatever he feels like, then going back to Hollywood? Well, that's what it feels like. And bizarrely, The Rock showed up on Raw in the Netflix premiere as a babyface, and then he stated that he and Rhodes made up off-screen. But this was really annoying to hear, as the two engaged in a blood feud on the road to WrestleMania 40, and it made Rhodes look incredibly weak as WWE's top credible babyface by explaining that the two just made amends without any physicality. The Rock would then backtrack on this by stating that he wanted Rhodes to sell his soul to him at Elimination Chamber. This would turn out to be the catalyst for Cena's heel turn. WWE have yet to...
Again, they did that. They warmed that up so terribly. So terribly. The way they enacted that.
discuss the relationship between The Rock and John Cena, and there's been no mention as to what selling your soul really means in the grand scheme of things.
Nope.
WWE also used Travis Scott for the
Why would
segment,
John
but
Cena
it's
sell
only
his
been
soul?
ignored in subsequent episodes of television.
If I was John Cena, there's no, like, okay, I want to do this so I can have a fair square off against Cody Rhodes. No. If I'm aligning with The Rock, I'm getting this championship. I'm done. So I'm going to be cemented as the best wrestler of all time. I'm already rich. I don't need this. I already have the limelight. I don't need this. But I'm going down as the biggest wrestler ever. The most accomplished wrestler ever. And I'm not going to do it against a fair square off. No. I want it like a match where I can instantly cash in. But let's just say you do want to have the fair square off, and then it turns into the bloodline numbers game. Cool, I guess.
On this topic, The Rock had an interesting comment to make on the creative relationship between himself and Triple H during a WWE press conference earlier this year. Triple H loves this business. I've known him for a long time. He's doing a great job and I talk with him often. What I like about Triple H is he'll present me with something, I like it, we'll chop it up, and I'll present him with something else. What I like about Paul is it's always been this way with Paul even when we were wrestling. It's, hey, let's do something unpredictable, something that's bold.
I think the biggest thing is just got to be like them setting up some proper TV. One of the biggest problems I have with Triple H booking right now, it seems like every week there's one pull-apart brawls. I love pull-apart brawls. Yes. Oh, my goodness. Bro, this video turned into a rant video. But, yes, man, every single week has to be a big brawl where we pull out 20 security guards. Like, bro, like we had this Roman Reigns and CM Punk and Seth Rollins segment where they all pulled up and just started a multi-man brawl. Why? Okay, and then we're going to allow you guys to sit there and talk quietly and politely about a match being made. Why are y'all even making a match? What would drive y'all to make a match together? Why are you signing a contract for a triple threat match? What is the purpose of this match? When y'all can just jump each other backstage. Why is Gunther and Jay Uso being pulled apart by security every week? Tiffany Stratton, Drew McIntyre, like bro, it's like you just spamming it every week. I disagree with this one. Hard to build this time in WrestleMania when the biggest stars of the show are barely there. I disagree with that. Because, I mean, we saw Roman Reigns and The Rock. We're not there every week last year. Like, come on now. Oh, my gosh. The New Day heel turn was such a waste. Oh, and y'all getting excited about John Cena, knowing that these are the same company that just pulled these boys having a heel turn as well. Not long ago. So terrible. Literally did nothing with them following this. So the thing I'm sorry is if this happened 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, they padded runtime 40 minutes of matches, 2 hours of blow clips. There's a few things about the WrestleMania build that I'm not a fan of. Number one is a feud between Jay and Gunther. Number two is The Rock not even mentioned in Cody Cena's promos. I feel like WWE is not even talking about the fact that Cena joined forces with The Rock. Facts. Which I gotta say in the comments about that. And if they brought up The Rock, you like others would complain the WrestleMania feud is all about him. I don't think that's what he meant. Isn't it weird that John Cena aligned himself with his once only enemy just to not even talk about what brought them together? Yep. There will probably be more build going forward, but I mean, again, it's like, what are we doing? I think that's more what it is. I think you can play a long game and there's little surprises that'll trickle up upon us, but the fact that like stuff has happened and nothing seems connected, I think is where a lot of people are drawing the issues from. Jay's win has started the apathy towards Mania build to make Gunther's stock lower instead of lifting Jay's. Many people don't see Jay as a believable opponent to Gunther, so seeing Gunther battling with Styles and Punk in all the high shows made me frustrated even more. These matches are far more and way more interesting than what we have now. Ooh. If Jay beats Gunther, it's going to be the worst big decision ever. There's a lot of people who want Jay thinking in the now and how good the moment will feel like if he wins, not thinking about what his reign is going to be like. What are the matches Gunther absolutely demolishing Jay for half an hour? I'm cool with that. But yeah, man, I had to go off, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think about WrestleMania 41. Are we excited for it? Obviously, I think all of us are still going to be on the edge of our seats and tuning in to see what they do in order to try and progress us forwards. Leave in the comments below.